Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to the Township Council special meeting of June 24th, 2025. This is a special meeting of the Council of the Township of Montclair. It's being broadcast live on Channel 34. It's streaming live on Montclair TV 34 YouTube channel. It's available on demand and can and will be rebroadcast. This special meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act. Adequate notice has been given. Adequate notice of the meeting has been provided, transmitted to the official newspaper on June 16, 2025, posted on the bulletin boards outside of the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted. In addition, a copy of this special meeting notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of our township clerk. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remind people why this is a special meeting. It's just like, tell them why. I keep getting the question, why is this a special meeting? Basically because it wasn't on the calendar.
Correct. Madam Clerk, would you please do the roll call?
Deputy Mayor Anderson?
Here.
Counselor Birmingham?
Here.
Counselor D'Amato?
Here.
Counselor Lockman?
Here.
Counselor Toller?
Good evening, President.
Good evening. Counselor Williams?
Here.
Mayor Baskerville?
Present. For any of you who are wondering what's so special about the meeting, well, first of all, we think all of our meetings are special, but tonight is called the special meeting because it was not on the original agenda and we did not pass a resolution at the last meeting in time for this to become an additional regular meeting. So, because I know people have been asking and wondering that. So what we're going to do is, are there people here to receive the proclamations? No. Okay. So what we're going to do is the council is going to break into executive session. We're going to go upstairs. We have matters pertaining to contracts, and that should take maybe about an hour. And we're going to allow you all to remain in here if you'd like to. Then we're going to come back and we'll begin the meeting, starting with the proclamations and continuing as is written here. Before we begin, are there any council members who would like to remove anything from the agenda? I personally would like to make a motion to withdraw Resolution R25-189.
Second.
Okay, I did that at the request, and I am removing it at the request. Anyone have any further discussion about that, or are we good to vote on it? All in favor of removing Resolution R25-189, please say so by aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? Anyone else have anything that they would like removed at this time? No. Okay. I'd like to make a motion, please, that we adjourn upstairs for the purposes of executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Okay, we'll be right back. Thank you. Okay, welcome back, and thank you all so very, very much. Obviously, my timing, thinking that we were going to be there for an hour, was off by a bit, but we were in executive session at that time. So we're going to move on with the agenda. So we're up to, Yes, I'd like to make a motion to exit the executive session.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Abstained? Do I have to make a motion now to enter this one? Okay. We're going to start with proclamations, and we're really excited. The first proclamation up is a proclamation for Montclair Theater Day. Are there people here to accept Montclair Theater Day? Okay, come on down. Council members who wish to stand.
So I'm very excited to present this proclamation to Vanguard Theater Company. Before I begin, just know that Saturday, July 12th, there will be a theater in the park at Glenfield Park put on by Vanguard Theater Company. So it's a free event. We hope to see many people in Glenfield Park. And it's a full day of theater. Full day. Wonderful. So this proclamation comes right on time. And it says, whereas Montclair is nationally recognized for its vibrant and thriving art scene, where theater plays a vital role in fostering creative expression, cultural dialogue, and community connection. And whereas theater invites us to examine the world around us, deepening empathy, sparking conversation, and encouraging collective reflection on the issues that shape our lives. And whereas arts education, including theater, has a profound impact on young people, building confidence, collaboration, and critical thinking skills that extend far beyond the stage. And whereas Vanguard Theater has been a visionary leader in cultivating a more inclusive, equitable, and engaged arts ecosystem through intentional programming and educational activities rooted in its commitment to DREAM. DREAM stands for diversity, reciprocity, education, activism, and mentorship. And whereas Vanguard Theater's inaugural Montclair Theater Festival brings together theater companies, artists, and audiences to celebrate the transformative power of performance and strengthens the bonds within our creative community. Now therefore, the mayor and the council of the Township of Montclair do hereby proclaim the second Saturday in July as Montclair Theater Day, and encourage all residents to participate in the celebration, support the arts, and honor the voices, stories, and creativity that enrich our lives. We're very happy and very lucky to have Vanguard Theater in our community. So congratulations. And welcome to say a few words.
Well, thank you so much for this proclamation. We appreciate it so much. We've been in Montclair since 2020. March 1st, 2020 is when we moved into Montclair, and we have to say it's been such a welcoming community. We feel so at home. We're in the middle of a production of Hair right now, which has been sold out every single show for the last 2 weekends, and will continue into this weekend. And it just shows how much this town has really embraced us. And we're so excited to be bringing this festival to the 4th Ward, to Glenfield Park. We're so excited to celebrate with everyone and to be able to offer a free event to the public, really showcasing how important diversity and artistic excellence is in our community. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh gosh, are you kidding? We appreciate you. Thank you. She's right. Okay. She good.
But can we get a picture with all of you?
Yes, that would be amazing. Yes.
One request, can everybody congratulate my daughter who got the special.
just.
Okay, and I'm certain most of council, if not all of council, would like to come down to the podium, because at this time it gives me great pleasure to present this proclamation for our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Padmaja, known as Maja Rao. Whereas the Chief Financial Officer plays a vital role in ensuring the fiscal integrity, transparency, and accountability of public funds, and whereas Padmaja Rao has exemplified exceptional dedication, professionalism, and ethical leadership in her role as Chief Financial Officer for over a decade in the Township of Montclair, and whereas under her stewardship, the organization has achieved a AAA bond rating. Woo! Financial growth, system improvements, successful audits, cost saving, and strategic investments. And whereas Ms. Rao remains steadfast in her duty, demonstrating courage, integrity, and deep commitment to the financial safety and well-being of this community, and her unwavering professionalism serves as an example of ethical leadership in public service. Ms. Rao has demonstrated a steadfast commitment to transparency, accountability, and the highest standards of financial excellence. And whereas Ms. Rao has served as a trusted advisor, a mentor, a collaborator, embodying the values and mission of our organization. For her work and for her bravery in adversity, the community is deeply appreciative of Maja Rao for her devotion and tireless efforts. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the mayor and the council of this wonderful township of Montclair do hereby recognize and commend you, Ms. Rao, for your outstanding service and contributions as Chief Financial Officer, and we express our deepest appreciation for your dedication and impact here in the township of Montclair. And I was one of the lucky ones. I had quite a few years to work with Ms. Rao during my tenure as a Fourth Ward council person. Would you like to say anything? Because I know it's harder for us. You know, we're going to miss you. We're missing you already. Yeah, we're going to miss you already.
First of all, thank you, Mayor Baskerville. Thank you, Council Toller. Thanks, everybody, for this really kind recognition. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you. And it has been an honor to serve in the role of Chief Financial Officer for this incredible town. It's really, really incredible. And words cannot express my gratitude to all these residents who have been the driving force behind my work. And I am really honored to serve those people who are really passionate and committed to make their town better. And truly, you know, you all here some in homes, you really made a deep impact on me, and I'm carrying with me all these good memories and all these relationships I formed. I am really, truly, truly honored. I do not have words to express how grateful I am, and truly. And I also want to thank for this opportunity in 2015, this opportunity given to me by Mayor Jackson and the council at that time. Mayor, you were there on that council, for this opportunity is to serve and the trust they've put on me, in me, to move this town forward towards fiscal stability, sustainability, and growth. I am really, really honored. I want, with great appreciation, I'm going to leave this town, knowing that these committed residents will move the town forward. I have deep faith in all of you and the council members. Thank you so very much.
Did you guys wish to do something? I think there's some other people.
On behalf of all the nine that you have put in to making us better. Thank you.
I do not have done anything without you.
Absolutely, you may. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm Tony Martin, and I'm here with my friend Mimi and Marcia. And this woman is such an example of how to be a powerful, integrity-filled professional. I brought Mimi, who is a friend, not a relation, who is also a major admirer of this woman. And think of the example she has set. She's been through a lot in this town. And her courage, her determination, her faithfulness to our community, I can't express our gratitude. It's overwhelming. I'm so sad to see her go. The next one better be just as good, Mayor.
Absolutely. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure. Thank you so much. Next up, we're going to do the community comments. So if you're number one, you can start moving this way. Public comment is next up.
I brought some petitions and some background papers for the council members.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Stan Karp, K-A-R-P. I reside at 7 Oxford Street, where my wife and I have lived since 1983. Didn't get the green button? Oh, I thought it was on. Sorry. My name is Stan Karp. I reside at 7 Oxford Street, where my wife and I have lived since 1983. For the past 7 years, we have lived next to a stalled renovation project at number 11 Oxford Street, which is the reason I'm here tonight, with petitions signed by more than 50 of my Oxford Street neighbors asking for the town council's help. For years, number 11 has had the appearance of an abandoned property. The doorways are boarded up in the front and the back. There are no front stairs. Some windows and siding are missing. There are open porches without railings and many other unfinished features. If you've ever driven down Oxford Street, you know what house I'm talking about. Throughout those 7 years, the owners have lived in the rear in a converted garage, despite the absence of a CO, a fact that the Code Enforcement Office has been aware of for several years. About 2 years ago, we started reaching out to town officials for help getting the owners to complete the renovation. We had several meetings. Deputy Scantlebury was extremely helpful in trying to set up meetings with the town attorneys and the Code Enforcement Office. We had several meetings about applying the abandoned property code or the property maintenance code to number 11. In the spring of 2024, the Code Enforcement Office finally issued multiple violations with potentially heavy fines. The case went to court, but after several postponements, we were told by town officials that because the owners had active construction permits, they could not be held in violation of the property maintenance code, which only applied to completed structures. The major violations were dismissed, and town attorneys settled with the owners for a modest fine and eliminated the other violations. Since then, work has taken place sporadically with no visible progress for months, followed by occasional activity, followed by more delay. Right now, there is an overflowing dumpster on the front lawn, debris accumulating in the backyard, and no end in sight to this renovation. Then last week, my neighbor Ernie Smith from 18 Oxford Street found 3 forms lying literally in the street. One was a stop construction order, another was a notice of unsafe structure, and the third was a notice and order of penalty. We have no idea why these forms were in the street. Mr. Smith took pictures and put the forms in the mailbox at number 11. Copies of the forms are in your folder, along with the petitions from Oxford Street residents. We came here tonight hoping to get answers to 2 questions about these orders. Have the $8,000 in penalties that are cited on the notice of penalty actually been assessed? Or does this have to go back to court? And will township attorneys be possibly settling with the owners instead of having them face fines for the 7-year delay in construction? And my last, does the stop construction order apply just to the garage where the owners have been living, or to the main house too? Obviously, the neighborhood wants to see construction on the main unit continue with legal permits and an enforceable timeline. We would appreciate a commitment to get answers to Oxford Street residents in a timely fashion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, please.
Good evening, Mayor Baskerville, Council. I'm
How are you?
Ernest J. Smith, also
Yes.
Ernie, 18 Oxford Street, and I've been living, my wife and I have been living on Oxford Street for 30-plus years. I don't know what to add to what Mr. Karp stated, but we need help, and I don't know what to say, but it seems like everyone's passing the buck on this. I can't believe that we have an ordinance that will allow someone to do work when they want for 7 years, and it looks like if I was going to sell my house, what do I say to the people trying to buy my house? You know, they have been not paying the proper taxes for 7 years because the property hasn't been finished. So I don't know what else to say. We need help. Please help us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Good evening. I'm Margaret Whitsitt. I live at 11A Oxford, and I am the resident that is most affected by this continuing construction. My backyard, I look out onto their backyard, and I taught Montclair Public School students through this construction, the drilling of the basement, and so forth. So I just want to share something with you. I grew up in the segregated South. My family was the 3rd black family to desegregate the housing in Charlottesville, Virginia. And we moved across the street from the president of the White Citizens Council, which, if you don't know, was a remnant of the KKK. And I've lived all over the country, but I have never had neighbors like this, like the neighbors at 11. I have suffered harassment, extortion from these people over the years. They have called the police on me. Ms. Toller and Ms. Baskerville are in receipt of a timeline of the things, some of the things that have happened. Most recently, they called the police on Mr. Karp just this week. So I have been robbed of my ability to live easily in my home, and yet I pay the proper taxes. I have had to have a Ring camera installed, and I have to have it monitored because the police told me that I have to do that if these people continue to harass me. So it's been going on for me for 7 years. I know that we're probably near the end, but what bothers me is, what about the people that come after me here in this town? I don't ever remember this happening. I've been in this town for almost 40 years, and I've never seen something like this. And I've never heard anybody express the kind of vitriol that these neighbors have shown toward me. So I want to know if there is something that should be done differently so this doesn't happen again, so that people that come behind me that live in this town don't have to suffer the way I have suffered for 7 years with these people. So I suggest that possibly a change in process occur so that permits are not allowed to go out to this length, and possibly variance or whoever these people had to go to get permission to increase the house size by a third and drill down into the basement and continue to have trash in the yard and harass the neighbors like me. I'd like to see something happen so that the people that come behind me don't suffer.
May I?
So that's my request to this council, is that you not only look at what is happening now, but you look at what could happen in the future. I know this town is suffering from a bit of overdevelopment. That's my opinion, obviously. We can't expect the highest and best use for every property in this town. One of the reasons that I came to Montclair 40 years ago was because of the beautiful old homes. Well, they're not going to continue to be beautiful if we overbuild properties and allow developers to overextend. So thank you for listening, and I know you don't have an easy job. God knows I wouldn't want it, but I do ask you to take on this burden as well.
Thank you. Councilor Toller wished to make a comment.
Yep, thank you. Thank you for your bringing your concerns to the full council. Just for the record, for the residents that were here, or are here rather, from Oxford, I have shared this concern with our manager, our deputy manager, as well as our attorney. I'm wondering if it's appropriate, Mr. Marks, if we can ask code enforcement to supply, if she has an update for these residents on anything that's been issued thus far and what's the plan going forward. 7 years seems like a long time for quality of life issues, and we probably need to make sure that we're putting the gas to the pedal with this one and ensuring that everything is being done so that these residents can continue to live the best quality of life on Oxford Street.
Thank
Agreed.
you.
We
Or-
will look into it and report back.
Thank you. Or a tax abatement for us, since we've had to live through
I
it.
understand that too. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Witset. Next up, please.
Mr. Scott.
Good evening. William Scott, 23 Cedar Avenue, and I always like to open with a 75-year resident of Montclair and in the 4th Ward. I'm really going to speak to one issue, but there's other situations that have arisen from this particular issue. But I first want to speak to the fact that I was in receipt of a flyer that spoke to eminent domain for the Martin's Funeral Home. And again, I'm speaking only in a personal manner, not representing any committee or commission that I am a part of. But one thing about our community, we always want to make sure that we have correct and factual information spread amongst the community if we're looking for support for individuals or a situation in our community. I'm not a Facebook person, so I happened to get a copy of the flyer that, to me, in my opinion, was inciting a situation that needs to be addressed in a formal and proper manner. So just moving on, as the situation really related to Martin's Funeral Home, I've been to the town meetings, the planning board meetings, the council meetings as it related to the housing element and fair share plan, but the specific issue related to the Martin's Funeral Home, when the property owner came to the various meetings, it indicated that they wanted to have their property removed from that document because it was harming their business. I definitely believe there should have been immediate action after I've spoken to the property owner and understand the impact that has happened to that owner. I see no reason why there should have been an immediate recounting of that property in that document. I'm not a lawyer, but I've seen situations in ordinances in the past that if it was not a substantial change to the ordinance, it could be removed and addressed immediately without having additional public meetings at that point. And as I mentioned, I'm not a lawyer, but if there's something in an ordinance that is not a substantial change, and you guys have a lawyer, obviously, that change can be removed without going through additional steps at that point in time. I believe that process should have taken place. If this document, as my understanding, has been submitted to the Department of Community Affairs, Legal Department, as a legal document from the Township of Montclair, it extends the harm for the individual, the property owner, Ms. Martin, on a state level, for her property to be listed as a possible property that could be a part of a development that she does not want it to be looked at in that manner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Scott, and I'd just like to thank you for always coming, but as you pointed out to me, this is not a matter for the town council. It goes to which board? Because we had the discussion, the planning board, right? And so whatever those concerns are, and maybe many of us up here share them as well, the planning board is the body and at the level at which that discussion has to take place. This body does not have the ability to do that, but I do appreciate you for coming up. Thank you. Next up, please.
Good evening, Mayor Baskerville and council members. I'm Jeffrey
evening.
Robert Grayson. I'd like to take this moment to first thank Mayor Baskerville and Councilor Toller for organizing the Juneteenth flag raising ceremony. I'd also like to thank Manager Marks, Councilor Birmingham, and Councilor D'Amato for attending the ceremony. Maybe next year we can keep the flag raised for more than 24 hours. Eminent domain is the power the government can use to seize private property, even if the owner is not willing to sell, as long as the owner is compensated fairly. Initially, eminent domain was primarily used to facilitate essential infrastructure projects like railroad construction, roadways, and aqueducts to supply water to cities and military bases. In the mid-20th century, the Supreme Court case Berman versus Parker significantly broadened the use of eminent domain by ruling that the government could seize private property and transfer the property to third parties for redevelopment. Initially, only properties that were run down and considered eyesores and surrounding the property owners were seized. This was later expanded to include any property regardless of the condition, as long as the third-party owner could redevelop the property to bring increased tax revenue to the government. Eminent domain has been used to displace black families and alter black communities, often for projects that benefited other groups. A report issued by the Institute of Justice found that between 1949 and 1973, projects were carried out in 1,000 cities that displaced 1 million people, 2/3 of which were African American. Martin's Home for Service has been a mainstay in Montclair since 1952. Dating back to the 1940s, there have been 5 black-owned funeral homes in Montclair, beginning with Cotton's, Holcomb's, Bynum's, Drew, and Martin's. Martin's is the last of those 5 still operating in Montclair. Recently, Martin's was named by Janice Talley as one of 3 properties in the 4th round housing element and fair share plan that could potentially be a site for affordable housing in future plans. Martin's owner, Rachelle Williams, was blindsided by this inclusion. Montclair has met its state-mandated affordable housing quota at this time, but in the real world, there is need for much more. Let me make this perfectly clear that at this time, Martin is in no danger of being seized by eminent domain, but it's important that we understand the historical use within the African American community. As we meet here tonight, Mayor Baskerville and the Planning Board have initiated the process to remove Martin's name from this list. Was its inclusion a mistake, a misunderstanding, or something more duplicitous? Montclair's African American community needs to be more vocal, visible, and vigilant in community affairs because there are policymakers and people doing business in this town that are playing chess with our future while we're playing checkers, and we wonder why our neighborhoods don't look, feel, and function like they used to. We can begin by holding this council accountable for reopening Firehouse 3, implementing traffic safety measures in the 4th Ward, and improving the living conditions at Union Gardens. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Good evening. My name is Rochelle Williams. I'm the owner of Martin's Home for Service. I live at 48 Elm Street, above the funeral home. First and foremost, I would like to thank you, Madam Mayor, for making the motion last week at the Planning Board meeting. However, I would like to know what has transpired since then. As we were told that by the attorney that was there, that the amendment had to be put forth on a 10-day legal notice in the newspaper. I have yet to see that in the newspaper. So I'd like to know where we stand at this point. Can anybody answer that? Was the amendment made to the newspaper? That's not a yes, no, or maybe so? Is there an amendment that has been written to be made to the state of New Jersey?
I'm so sorry, because we did talk about this, and we talked about it being changed, but it has to be changed by the planning board, so.
I understand that.
Right, so I will just say, I
But
haven't heard it.
I'd like to
Yes.
know, the mayor was there.
Yes.
And as was stated at that meeting,
Yeah,
at the
but I
planning
don't want
board.
you to interpret our silence as being not caring. I think we just, at least I don't have information that's helpful at this point. I don't know if anybody else does. Does anyone have helpful information, or can we?
No, you're right. The planning board made the decision, and we have some planning board members present. I don't have an answer because I'm not on the planning board. And I'm sorry.
I mean, there was two people there that it was stated that the following day, there would be a meeting with Janice Talley, with that the attorney
the
that you
following
asked,
day.
Mayor, that the attorney helped to write this amendment. I just want to know where we are.
Some of the information that you're saying is foreign to me because there was nothing said about that. At the right time, I will be happy to talk to whoever the group of people is. I'm specifically not feeling that comfortable having this discussion with you, and I'm sure you know why. So if Ms. Lockman wants to respond to you, fine. Otherwise, at another time, then we can have that discussion. There was nothing said about the day after the meeting, and in fact, during that meeting, we did discuss the process that after they got the paperwork in by the 30th, then we were going to put the amendment in after that, and we have
No,
not
but
done
there
that
was
yet.
there was a 10-day mentioned by the attorney. We can rewind the videotape.
Okay.
So that, that we're all on the same page.
Okay.
I'm not making this up. I'm just asking where we stand. Because I'm still of the belief that I want my business removed from that document.
Right, and I think
And
I
I
was
do
very
have
clear.
that right.
Yeah, I was very clear about where I stand on this too. And if, the attorney or whoever you were speaking to that told you that wishes to pursue...
This was not an attorney I was speaking to. This is the attorney that was at the planning board meeting.
Okay.
This is not an arbitrary person.
Okay.
So we need to, revisit that. I'm only asking, where do we stand a week later? And
You may have an answer. You may have an answer for it. I don't. Carmel may have an answer. All I have is exactly what happened at the last meeting and the fact that I tried extremely hard to get it to be withdrawn
And I thank
at that
you for
time.
making that
Right, but at
motion,
this
Mayor.
point in time, I have nothing else to add to that. You may have more information than I do. We haven't had another planning board meeting yet.
So you need a planning board meeting in order to speak to the attorney that
No,
who read
I don't
from
need
his
any of
book
that.
about what the process was. And I'm trying to find out if we made any moves or made any headway on that motion.
Well, I don't
That's
know if
all
our
I'm
planner
asking.
is here, and I told you I don't have an answer for that. And I also
you know
said
when we
my
will have an
preference is
answer on
not to
that?
have this discussion with you, and you know better than anybody in here why, and I'm not going to have that discussion with you.
Really? And you're our mayor, and you're not going to have this discussion with me?
Oftentimes,
Then never
we
mind.
don't do that.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah, we oftentimes don't have the back and forth discussions here, and I'm choosing not to have a back and forth discussion with you, as we often
Mayor
do.
Baskerville, I
Next,
am not
next guest,
asking
please.
for something that was out of the ordinary. I was asking for something that was dealt with at the last meeting.
Next guest,
That is all.
please. Next guest, please. Well, if you saw it.
All right, it's tough to follow. I'm sorry. Darren Siddons, 75 Montclair Avenue.
I'm
here.
sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Your name?
Darren Siddons, 75 Montclair Avenue. And I'm here for representing myself and also Clary Anderson Arena Association. First of all, thank you for all the time you spent. I'm sure you were talking for some time this evening about the arena, so I appreciate that. And also putting this document together and also asking for our input. Appreciate that. We appreciate that. I just had a couple comments on the guiding principles here. Number one, and I don't know whether you can elaborate or not, but it says it says self-supporting without taxpayer contribution. We know that we have a short-term problem of making the arena compliant and a long-term problem of actually rebuilding the arena. So I don't know whether or not our organization is going to be able to raise all of the money that's necessary. I know you like that, but I can't promise that to actually rebuild the arena. I think it has to be sort of along the lines of your number 4, a partnership in giving. So a partnership means that there's partners, and so our organization are willing to start to raise money, but we have to be given the permission to do so. So we're sort of waiting to meet with you all and put some documentation in place so that we actually can start to raise money, but we need a plan. So as for the plan, so I'm going to move to the $90,000 architectural ordinance that or sort of resolution that you're going to talk about tonight. What does that actually include? Is the town going to get? Is it just supervision, or are we actually going to have a development plan that we could actually use to help us start our quest to raise money? We don't have to have this answered today, but I would like to, have a meeting with you all so we can actually start and look at the short-term problem and the long-term solution. So I'm looking forward to meeting with you. Thank you.
Next guest, please.
Good evening, Sarah Avery, Montclair resident. I've done a pretty extensive analysis of the Mills building, so I'm just going to list a few of the facts. In August 2020, the township announced that they will not be building a senior center in Mills based upon, quote, financial considerations, and that's sort of spilleries for graft. Fact, October 2020, United Way transfers mills to NJCC for $1.9 million. Fact, February 2023, NJCC files suit to dissolve the mortgage covenant. Fact, in March, the township hires Derek Fregemill to attack NJCC's request. Fact, in April, Fregemill argues, quote, in all such circumstances, the property may only be transferred to a substantially similar corporation. Fact, Placek Family Foundation is not a substantially similar corporation. It is not a legitimate charitable entity. Fact, NJCC explains in their April brief that the township resorted to irrational fear-mongering. Fact, United Way also vehemently disagrees with the township's misguided characterization of prior transfers of mills. Fact, Fregemill crafts a ROFO, a right of first offer, as part of the settlement and release agreement. Fact, in October, the township approves the Placek-owned BDP as Lackawanna Plaza redeveloper. Fact, in November, the township approves the settlement and release agreement. Fact, in December of 2023, NJCC sells mills to Placek for $1,450,000, $500,000 less than their cost and significantly below fair market value. Fact, the township pays $40,000 of taxpayer funds to Derek Fregemill to effectuate the transfer of mills from NJCC to Placek Family Foundation, which is a conflict of interest and possibly racketeering. Thank you.
Thank you. Next guest, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Deirdre Malloy, and I am making comments as a private citizen. Although there are some parts of the fourth round housing element and fair share plan for 2025-2035 that are good, some are not. My personal statement of concern today is the citation of Martin's Funeral Home as non-conforming, and that, and I quote the following from the plan, zoning changes should be developed to encourage adaptive reuse of the property, end quote, which is a pre-planning decision that places this vital institution at a potential future risk of seizure for redevelopment through eminent domain. As one of the few remaining Black-owned businesses in Montclair, Martin's has served the community with dignity, compassion, and cultural significance in entrepreneurship for over 75 years. Its presence is not just a matter of commerce, but of heritage and family legacy. Protecting Martin's Funeral Home affirms Montclair's commitment to equity, diversity, and the honoring of community legacies that can never be replaced. Kindly work together with the planning board, which the attorney did say that they were going to check in to see about the process, which he mentioned 10 days, and that Janice Talley would need to draft the ordinance. So remove Martin's and submit it accordingly to the Administrative Office of the Courts via Directive 14-24 before the dispute deadline in August. I believe that the plan is already with the office, the Administrative Office of the Courts. You can check that with the planner. It's a recommended focus that the township and the governing body take a look at the abandoned church at 61 Elm Street, the lot next to Exxon at Elm and Bloomfield Avenue, or how about the corner of Glenridge Avenue and North Willow? Surely these sites are non-conforming as boulders of rubble and piles of dirt or abandoned buildings that have sat unattended to for years. And we heard an issue not too long ago about that. There seems to be no monitoring of what's happening with certain development or redevelopment. So these have sat for years, and those places are where housing can be built to beautify the community and to house people who want or need affordable housing. The other thing I want to mention is I received that flyer as well. And while it mentioned eminent domain, it is a fact that planning, if you cite a property as non-conforming, while it is not happening immediately, it may happen years later, it sets a property up to be taken by eminent domain. Thank you.
Thank you. Next guest, please.
Good evening,
Good
Madam
evening.
Mayor, Council. My name's Dave Herron, and I'd like to first thank our Chief Financial Officer. She has done an exemplary job. We are losing such a valued public servant, and to her, I say thank you to the bottom of my heart for all that you've done for Montclair. You know, integrity is something I was taught as a little kid. My dad said you can't buy it, you can't borrow it, no one can give it to you, and no one can take it back. So thank you, Chief Financial Officer. Eminent domain. Folks, I don't understand. What are you doing here? Why are you talking even silently among yourselves about taking, the possibility of taking property from a business that's been here for decades? Why would you do that? Why would you even consider that? The planning board did talk about 10 days. I was there. Mayor Baskerville, you were there. Councilor Lockman, you were there. Stop playing games with the public. Please don't do that. Don't sit silently as if you have no clue what we're talking about. How dare you sit that silent? How dare you? What is wrong with you? I don't understand. I don't understand. Why would you do that? I ride around town all the time. I see vacant buildings. I see vacant lots. There's plenty. I'm not against affordable housing, but we got empty spaces all over the place. And you know, you need to do some research, folks. I've been NAACP past president. I've been in the civil rights movement for decades. There's a lot of legal challenges when you start taking eminent domain and apply it to African American businesses. You need to check it out. You need to do your homework. Because if you want to get into a fight, try to take Martin's. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, get. They want time, just desperate. Next guest, please. They know that nobody.
Good evening, Dr. Mayor Baskerville and
Good evening.
Council. I'm Lauren Riggiola. I'm the owner of Jai Pure Yoga on Bloomfield Avenue. We've been here before, and we're here again. And we're here with some other business owners to address again the location of mesh and the things that we are experiencing. It's on a daily basis, and it's happening all the time. Last week, I had men in front of my store drinking wine, and then when one of my staff members, who was elderly, asked them to move, he threatened them and started screaming and yelling and said he was going to mess them up. He's 60 years old, 65 years old. I have to worry about all of this. And then we call the police and they run away, and then they catch them, but nothing happens. And so we've petitioned before, and we understand that it's a very difficult thing to address. We're not anti-mesh. We just don't think that this location is the best place for the public. And we also think that there's some things that perhaps the council can consider, like the ordinances that Summit recently enacted. And I know that they are difficult to think about, but it allows the police officers to do something. The public streets need to be safe for our residents and also for the unhoused. But we all should be able to use the public streets and places safely and enjoy it. And we haven't been able to do that. Not to mention that our businesses have really suffered. The doors are locked often, we can't take streets, traffic the way we used to, and we're not operating in the same manner as we used to. So we're asking you, please take some form of action to help us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next guest, please.
My name is Edward Alpinti. I own Jinx Proof Tattoo at 7 Midland Avenue. I've been there for more than 30 years. Something's going on and it's not being addressed, and it's horrible. In the heart of the Montclair Central Business District, residents, business owners, and patrons alike are facing mounting challenges due to the presence of Montclair Emergency Service of Hope, as well as other unhoused and food-hungry people. I understand, it's a problem. It's a statewide problem. It's a global problem. But it's also becoming a problem to business owners. Some of the behaviors of some of these clients of Mesh and other soup kitchens in town, aggressive begging, public urination, public use of drinking, drug use, defecating on the street, in between cars, using my alley as a brothel, coming into my business and trying to physically accost me, and I have to stop what I'm doing. Do I have to carry one of my firearms to work with me every day because I'm starting to get scared, where I've never had that feeling in my life for 30 years here in Montclair as a business owner? I understand being homeless is not an illegal thing. I get that. And I sympathize with these people, and I sympathize with the people who really need services. But some of these people that are their clients are the same perpetrators all the time, the same actors, but you guys don't do anything. I know you're sick of me. You've seen me so much. I know you're sick of me. I've only seen you once or twice, but it's the same old story. Nobody's doing anything. The streets are filthy. Restaurants, 6 o'clock on a Saturday, people sleeping and defecating on the sidewalk in front of their windows. Montclair is losing it. You're losing it to Summit. You're losing it to Morristown. You're losing it to Denville. You're losing it to Maplewood. Montclair is not that shining jewel anymore. The streets are filthy. Do something about it, please. Please do something about it, Ms. Laughlin. Please. Listen to your business owners, your small business owners. We are what Montclair used to be, not David Placek. He doesn't have to own everything. Your small business owners that have been here for more than 30 years. Do something about it. Clean up the streets.
Thank you very much. Next guest, please. Sure. Excuse me, just a moment. Mr. Counselor Williams wants to say something.
What was your name, sir?
My name is Edward.
Edward.
I own Jinx Proof Tattoo, Montclair, New Jersey, 7 Midland Avenue for more than 30 years.
Thank you.
I saw you at the church.
Yes, yes, we did speak. So since that meeting right there where there were you were there, a couple of other folks were there. I think there were like 30 to 40 people there, business owners and residents and stuff. Since that time, and you tell me, because I'm hearing different things from different folks, has there been a foot patrol, police foot patrol?
I want to answer that.
Well,
I want to answer that.
Excuse me, just one moment, please.
I'm
gonna let the council
Has the
finish.
police foot patrol started? Yes. Okay. And you're not thinking that it's has it caused any, has it curbed any of the behavior that you're talking about, or tell me.
Not particularly, because the police patrol ends at a certain time.
Please talk into the mic so people at home can hear you in the video.
Not particularly, because the police patrol only lasts for a certain amount of time, and then they clock off.
And what time? And I'm sorry, I'm asking.
Roughly around 6 p.m.
So after 6 p.m., this is where this behavior.
Well, it's happening actually all day in broad daylight. In daylight, you see the pictures. That's Bloomfield Avenue, the shining beacon of the Montclair Central Business District, out in the open. You see the pictures.
Okay.
So the police can only do so much. They can only patrol so much, whether on foot, in their car, or with the mental
The program. Arrived.
program that's going on also with the police. They could only do so much. Okay? These people, they get their services at Mesh or the other soup kitchen or wherever they're going, but then they're asked to leave. And when these people leave, where are they going? They're hanging out over near the Board of Education over there, where that little indentation is with all the benches right next to the playgrounds where the kids are playing. They're hanging out near Fro Yogurt over there on all those benches over there across the street from the hotel, leering at people as they're going in and out of their pocketbooks or their pockets for money to pay for yogurt for their children. I know because I take my kid there. Because I support local businesses. Because I am a mom and pop business. But the police are only doing so much. The police clock out at a certain time. So, once the sun goes down or once, some of the common denominators have had 10 beers in them, 15 beers in them, are smoking their crack or whatever other drugs they are doing, it all comes out onto Bloomfield Avenue. They cause traffic jams. They urinate on Bloomfield Avenue. They use Bloomfield Avenue as a place to sleep.
Okay.
Okay,
So
thank you
So
very
the cops
much.
can only do so much.
Thank you. I just wanted to.
Correct.
I just wanted to see what impact the foot patrols are having, and it seems like we need to kind of
Increase
go back
them.
It seems like we have to go back and reassess that situation.
When the church ran Mesh, there wasn't really any problems. Now that Mesh is over inside where the office used to be, it's been a nonstop problem.
Next guest, please.
Somebody went ahead of me by accident. I was number 10, and number 11 didn't realize.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Alma Schneider, 72 High Street. And I'm speaking tonight on behalf of Ken Waits, who is the president of Happy to Chat Benches. This is going to be a very easy one for all of you. So, good evening, and thank you for taking a moment to listen. Happy to Chat Benches are a simple way to create connection and foster community. We're here to talk about a surprisingly simple but powerful idea. The Happy to Chat Bench. A resolution to approve this project is up for your vote today. It's just what it sounds like, a public bench that says, sit here if you're happy to have someone say hello and join you for a chat. That small sign does something big. It makes it socially acceptable to start a conversation with a stranger. Why a bench? Because benches are public, accessible, and non-intimidating. More importantly, because we are in the middle of what the U.S. Surgeon General has called a public health crisis of loneliness. Since 2003, Americans have lost 20 minutes of social connection per day. Loneliness is soaring, especially among young adults, and it's as deadly as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It affects our health, education, productivity, and safety, costing us over $6 billion a year. And here's what's often overlooked. to truly thrive, we need both strong relationships and weaker social ties, the kind we get from casual, spontaneous interactions with strangers. Science backs this up. People who talk to strangers are happier, feel safer, and live longer. These vitamin S moments, that's S for strangers, actually build empathy, optimism, and a sense of community. There's been a lot of talk tonight about a lack of community, and I think that this is an easy answer to this. A small piece of it, a very small piece of a solution. That's the secret sauce of the Happy to Chat bench. It's not just for lonely people, it is for everyone who wants to feel more connected, more grounded, and more human. Best of all, we handle everything. No cost, no hassle. We fund it, install it, maintain it. All you have to do is say yes, Y-E-S. That's all that has to be done. This is a no-brainer. It's free, it's universal, it's proven, it's growing from the UK to Massachusetts to cities across the US. Please, let's bring one to Montclair. Let's make connection easier. Let's do this together. And it doesn't mean one bench. It means numerous benches. Again, they are free, absolutely free, and they're installed for free. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions or?
Yes.
No.
I have a question. If we approve, when we vote on this, if it's approved, do you know exactly how many benches we're talking about? I'm sorry, I didn't read the resolution in front of me.
I don't know if there's a limit, but Ken Waits, whose project this is happy to speak to anyone, as he's mentioned in his correspondences with you. He'd be happy to talk further about this, but it's, I don't know. He's watching right now. I can ask him.
That's all right, I can email him back. You didn't
All
have
right.
to do that.
He's,
I was
yeah.
just curious how many, and they would be placed in parks?
They could be placed in parks, on the road, on school property for kids especially. I mean, there is a real epidemic of anxiety in our community, as there is all over the country, and this is a very small way that is so simple to just get people talking. I mean, this is a no-brainer. I mean, this is the easiest thing you've got tonight.
Thank
So
you
let's
very
make it a
much.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next guest, please.
Hi, my name's Edward Peralta. I own Powerhouse Tattoo, 545 Bloomfield Avenue, right off the corner of Park. And I've been here before. I was here the last meeting. I got cut for time. So I just wanted to go through a few points about what I said last time. We have a situation with the MESH program. We understand that they have a certificate of occupancy, but did they get a certificate of appropriateness? Because that's something that they have to consult with the other business owners in the area. And I was never approached. None of the other people here were ever approached. So we want to know, do they have a certificate of appropriateness? This is a question.
Sorry.
So,
May I?
just in general, and I'll make this a general comment to folks when they come up to the microphone. So we don't know what you're going to ask. So you're asking a very good question. We would not know that right off the top of our heads because it's the first time that
This was asked at one of the meetings.
Actually, it's the first time I'm actually hearing that term,
because we're doing what we said we
appropriateness.
don't want.
But so if you want, you can send. If you want, I'm just saying in general. If you want, you can send an email. You can send an email, and you can ask whatever questions you want that way because you're looking for an answer, and we don't have that answer right now.
Sir, I was here June 3rd for the last meeting. I was at the bid meeting. You were there? No, I'm sorry. I was at the bid meeting. She was there. I was at the church meeting. You were there. And that question did come up.
I asked it.
So now you guys have had time to think about it, and we want an answer. It's not that hard. Do they have a certificate of appropriateness? Because we haven't been consulted.
No, thank you. If the manager wishes to respond to that, the manager can do so. If the manager wishes to get in touch with you at another date, then that is
Who do I have
historically.
to talk to?
The manager, Mr. Marks, and that's historically what we did. This council, in fact, gave me very specific directives that they didn't wish to have back and forth going on here
Okay.
today. But Mr. Marks
Please
there.
understand that I've been here, we've
I
been
know
here
you
since 6
have,
o'clock.
and I heard your question.
Okay.
Correct, and that's why I'm trying to extend beyond that, and I heard your question. Manager Marks, do you wish to respond to that, or how would you wish to respond?
So I will look into it and report back. I was asked what permits and inspections Mesh did have, which was researched. I forwarded it to the council members who had requested it. I don't recall a certificate of appropriateness was one of the items that was either asked for or received. We received inspection reports with regard to construction permits, fire permits, perhaps a zoning certificate. It's a month or two ago, so I'd have to look back at it and report back. But a certificate of appropriateness, I don't recall there being anything furnished.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up is that perhaps that we can have an ordinance on panhandling, loitering, drinking open containers. I think these are things that would be really helpful, with the situations that we're dealing with. And people say, oh, well, panhandling, just don't give them money. We're talking about people that get aggressive, okay? One of my workers had to go outside, goes outside, he gets asked for money, he says, hey buddy, I'm sorry, I don't have any money. He takes his shirt off and tries to confront him to try to fight him because he won't give him money. And this is a regular that's been on the police blotter for a number of times, for a number of years. As a matter of fact, in the police blotter in August of 2015, this same individual is listed as saying, oh, you guys might be familiar with this man, because he's been on the blotter many times. That was 10 years ago. And we're still dealing with this, and nothing's being done. So yeah, maybe.
Thank you very much. I'm
not done speaking.
Your time is up now,
No,
and I'm gonna ask,
other people
please.
talked.
I'm gonna ask, please, that the next guest come up.
No,
You're only
I
allowed a
waited
certain amount of time.
3 weeks to talk again.
Okay, so
So
you
I'm
can
not
reach out
finished
to
talking.
people by email and other ways of communication, and I'd like to have the next guest please come.
So
If
you
you'd
guys
like
want
to
to talk
have-
about a bench, a friendly bench to have for people to sit?
Don't put it on Bloomfield Avenue.
Don't put it on Bloomfield Avenue.
Okay.
Because you know what's going to happen?
Next guest, please.
You know about the person that was assaulted on that bench to the point that they had to call an ambulance, and they came around asking me for the footage of what happened.
Thank you. Next guest, please.
Friendly benches.
Losing track of the time. Good evening, Mayor Baskerville and Council. I'm Connor Smith, resident of 218 Park Street. I'm the Montclair High School hockey coach, and I teach at Montclair State. As a small business owner, I have a lot of sympathy for what these businesses are going through. Also, as a family member of someone who's been through some serious addiction and has assaulted people, served time for it, come out and done great things for the community, I hope you handle that with compassion and thoughtfulness for both sides of all the humans involved in this. I'm here to talk about Clary Anderson. So I want to start by saying thank you. You've been handed a very complex, aging facility in crisis and asked to figure it out really fast. With the whole town watching, you've taken calls, met with users, juggled proposals, and kept this rink on track. It hasn't been easy, but on behalf of hundreds of kids and families who rely on this building, thank you very much for where we are. Because this isn't just an ice surface, I say it's Montclair's winter living room. Councilwoman Toller said this has to be a place for everyone. Mayor Baskerville has told me that she looks forward to Friday night public sessions again. That's the spirit we want to preserve, and I've been a part of this process from the inside. I've helped write the local proposal to manage the rink, a plan that put community first, returned money to the township, and budgeted for equipment replacement. We weren't chosen, and that's okay. I'm here to support the group that has been, And I see many of those ideas carried through into the current user agreement. In fact, Councilor D'Amato even asked my team to help revise the agreement. And that's language that now prioritizes Montclair residents. And we figured out how to do that with 2,000 hours. And I think the plan is actually really incredible. So when I say we're close, I really mean it. This is real progress. Please pass that user agreement ASAP so our teams can start booking ice. But there's one line in the accompanying ordinance that could quietly unravel all of this progress. And I just want to bring it to your attention. That's guiding principle number 1. The rink should be self-supporting without taxpayer contribution. So I get that. It sounds fiscally responsible. But in practice, locking that in without one conversation with the people you expect to raise the millions puts the facility future at risk. So let's just look at the history. For years, Montclair has contributed around $100,000 annually to maintain this public building. When that scale of needed repair emerged, the previous council discussed putting in $6 million. Now we're back at 0. That's not a plan that sounds kind of like a gamble, and the odds aren't great. The chiller and ice floor are already past their lifespan. Replacing those could cost well over $1 million, as you know. Add roof work, mechanicals, safety netting, dashers, upgrades, we're talking another $5 million. Can we raise that? Maybe. Montclair has done incredible things. But no fundraising effort works without a clear public-private partnership. And what I look to do and advocate for is, before you decide on that number 1 guiding principle, to have one more talk, not at the podium or by phone, one-on-one, but with a group of people and the facilities committee together to figure out what it's going to take for us to be willing to raise the money you're counting on to see this rink survive.
Thank you. Next guest, please.
Hi, Scott Gibson. I'm here to 122 Midland Avenue. I'm here to reiterate what Connor and Darren have been talking about, the Clary Anderson. There's a couple things that were concerning that statement in Article 1. It's unrealistic to have, in order to renovate the rink, we're going to need a private public partnership with the rink. No one's going to give us money if the city is basically going to say, we're going to fix up the rink and it's up to you guys to raise all the money, because nobody's going to have confidence that you guys aren't going to pull out at some point. So we have to make some kind of agreement as a public partnership. And the $90,000 that's being put to the architectural firm. My father was an architect and I was a building contractor. In the situation at the rink, the repairs of the rink, it would go to a general contractor who would give you a bid to fix up the work, the electrical, the plumbing, all the stuff that needs to be done there. And that would be, that $90,000 would be used for the repairs and then the profit margin for the general contractor. So unless the architectural firm is coming up with maybe a design for the future rink, which would be great, that's included in that $90,000, that's an absolutely exorbitant fee. That makes no sense whatsoever as a supervisory fee for that kind of work. It would be a general contractor who's doing the work and he would take his cut off the top of that. That's pretty much what I need to say. So please examine what that $90,000 is actually for. It'd be better put to use to actually fixing up the rink. And then we need a real commitment, like we need the letter of intent. We legally can't raise money. CAA can't raise money unless we have the letter of intent for it legally to be able to raise money. We've talked with a lot of people who have good money, but we need that partnership because nobody's going to give us $1,000. Nobody's going to give us $500,000. No one's going to give us $1 million if they think that the city could just say, well, we really don't want the rink anymore. We're going to tear it down and put a police station there. We need that public commitment from you guys, and we're willing to do the work. And Darren's been trying to set up a meeting so we can get into the details and get going. I mean, we've been ready to do this for months. We've been working on this since February 2004. So 24, sorry. But, we're ready to go. But we need that back and forth. We need the communication. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next guest, please. That's it? Okay. So seeing none other, we're going to move on to new business ordinances. Counselor D'Amato.
Ordinance O-2525, I like the sound of that. An ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 234, Parks and Playgrounds, Article 2, Rents and Fees, Chapter 234 to 10, Rates for ice skating at Montclair, Clary Anderson Arena, and establishing fee schedule for Montclair, Clary Anderson Arena, and I so move. Second. Second. Okay, can we? I think that we need to modify this because this includes this ice allocation policy in the ordinance mistakenly.
Counselor D'Amato, we can't hear you on this end.
I said, I think we're going to need to modify this because it mistakenly copied in the resolution, which included the ice allocation policy with the sentence that the three gentlemen spoke about. So, Madam Clerk?
Do you want to withdraw this?
No, I don't.
You want to make a motion to amend? Is that
I
what
want to
I'm
make a
understanding?
motion to amend, but I want to ask
Okay.
the manager if this can be cleanly done, that from guiding principles A all the way down to many pages, to page 7, to E, we would excise all of that, including the letter E. In fact, we would excise fees as well, that line, and then we would just go into. Yes, but there's already a header here, so 23410 should be. Mr. Attorney, are you eyeballing this? Yeah. Okay. We had just basically double copied in a policy document, which is going to stand alone as a resolution. So maybe while they're figuring this out, I will just say that these are changes to the fee schedule that are necessary and I think welcomed by the stakeholders that I've talked to help, put some of these fees, more at levels that are going to make the arena sustainable. And I understand your comments about that first line. That is a guiding principle, right? So it's a principle that the idea that the taxpayers are not subsidizing, wildly. So we can talk, and we have talked, and we will continue to talk, and certainly there has been no desire to, not pick up the phone. I've called each of you or emailed each of you, and we'll talk about that. And it is a tricky thing. The mixing of public and philanthropic money is an old thing. It's done all the time, and it's done successfully, but it's a tricky thing. It's not easy, and we want to do it very much. And we will work on it, and we should be meeting and talking, this week. Do you know what to do?
So from my understanding, your amendment is to strike everything from letter A on page 1 through letter E on page 6.
That's right.
So after the section 234-10 fee schedule for ice skating at Montclair Clary Anderson Arena, then would be continued to page 7. The following fees shall be paid for use of Montclair Clary Anderson Arena, and then the rest of it, the rest of the section. Correct?
I believe so. It should just stand alone as the fees. And then everybody should just know that we worked quite hard on this. And the head of our.
Can you please say that again? I didn't quite catch what you're deleting.
Everything.
Everything.
Except for
Everything.
So-
No, then when you go
We're
to
just
E,
keeping the fees. So
Right.
the
It's
guiding
in the
principles-
resolution, yes.
So,
Say it again.
E and all the fees.
Yep, just say it again.
so from what I understand, Councilor D'Amato is recommending or moving to strike everything from the letter A on page 1
Right.
through the letter E on page 6. So after, just on top of, above A on page 1, it says Section 234-10, fee schedule for ice skating rink at Montclair Clary Anderson
Yeah.
Arena.
Yeah.
Then it would be continued to page 7. The following fees shall be paid for use of Montclair Clary Anderson Arena, types of use. That's the fee schedule. All fee schedules have to be ordained by ordinance. So that's so the part that's being struck is not permanently struck. Item 6 on the agenda is a resolution establishing a user and ice policy for Clary Anderson Arena. So the policy, the guiding principles, instead of being established by ordinance, will be established by resolution.
And I would further add that ice allocation policy, we can discuss it when it comes up. It needn't pass tonight if people want to talk about it or look at it a little more. The rate schedule really did need to be modified to have 2 readings so that we could actually sell ice to people. And the ice allocation policy has already been transmitted to, it will go alongside the contract with the operator that we chose, but they know what the details are, and we have spent a fair amount of time working with them. Ms. Camerata's, put a lot of time into this to come up with a schedule, an actual schedule, and a concept for how the rink is run, and we've been working on this, in iteration. So if everybody looks at this and they feel like they would like to wait on it, that's totally fine on that. But this
has to be.
We really should pass in order to just be able to serve the customers of the rink as of now, if that makes sense.
And if I may, from a practical point of view, when you set the rate schedule and you have contracts with folks, you start getting money. Money that we need to do the work, to get it ready for September, October, okay? And people need to make plans and all of that, so we need the rate schedule passed today.
Can I ask just one question about this rate schedule here? The general admission, you have these group rates here, and I'm just curious, for the 150 skaters, resident, $15 inclusive of skates, that's more than if someone had 100 skaters. I'm just curious as to, is the idea to, that's $15 a skater? Why is 150 more than 100? I'm just curious why that would be.
I will tell you that this was a part of a conversation, Councilor Lockman was there, where I had trouble keeping up with it, but we might ask Ms. Camerata on this one. But the people who live and breathe this 24/7.
One is residents, one is non-resident fee. Is that what you're referring
Right,
to?
there were several tiers of like all these different things, and I was writing it down and I kept messing it up. So maybe she can explain why that.
Okay, so it's a little, I know it's a little confusing, but, so the breakdown, Eileen, is that it's the admission with the $5 skate rental. So in actuality, that 100 to the 150 skaters as residents is $14. So that general admission group rate, it is $15. So we can ask them to adjust that area.
Well, we gotta do it now.
Unless
It's
we
a
do-
very minor thing.
I know.
It just, to me, it's not quite making sense, why it would be 14 versus 15. It's $1. It's not, but that's just one thing I'm wondering about.
So you want to change that now? Yeah.
I mean, would it be 13? Does it make sense to be $13? But again, if you're bringing 150
I mean, I would think the more people you bring, bigger discount you get coming in. So I think that would be, fair at $13.
I sent it back to everybody and asked for them to check the math. I think $13. So, Madam Clerk, if we could change the 15 on general admission group rate 150 plus skaters resident to 13.
And in actual,
We could keep the non-resident at 15
yeah.
because they're not residents of
Yeah.
of Montclair. So I think that would be fair.
Okay.
And then if you see under the school groups, we just kept that at a flat $10, and that includes their skates. So they're getting, whether they come with 20 or, 50, so.
Okay, great. And in actuality, they won't be selling general admission group rates for a while. So, right?
Yes.
So if they have some reason why they want to change it, we can change it.
We can modify it.
Yeah.
Before they would be using it. Okay.
This was something that they do at the facility that they're at right now. We previously just had a group admission rate passed under ordinance, but they asked that, sometimes that they do it this way to get more groups in or whatever. I believe also, too, when they get the 150 plus, they don't even kind of want them on a general session. They ask them to rent their own ice at that point.
And that's my question is if they are doing it because they don't want groups of 150
No.
in general, that.
No, so at that point, they
maybe
would
there
say
might be a
to them,
reason. Yeah.
you know what, we suggest you, rent a block of ice, yada, yada, because it's too many, with the general public. Okay.
Thank you much.
Did you move that? And there was a second? Did we move the amendment? Yeah.
A second amendment to, that sounds bad, to change that rate from 15 to 13. Do I have a second on it?
Second.
And can we close that one and then do the other one?
All in favor?
We run the vote, then we'll go back to the original.
I can barely hear what Counselor D'Amato's saying, because his back is there and he's not speaking into the mic, so it's hard for me to.
So we should
hear what you're
vote on
saying.
this amendment, these two amendments?
Correct.
Or can we do it as one amendment?
You can do it as one amendment.
Okay.
Both things that you noted here, I have it as your motion to amend it with those two things.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, will you please call a roll on the amended version?
The roll is on these two amendments that Counselor D'Amato just said. Deputy Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Counselor Birmingham?
Yes.
Counselor D'Amato?
Yes.
Counselor Lockman?
Yes.
Counselor Toller?
Yes.
Counselor Williams? Absent. Mayor Baskerville?
Yes.
Okay, that passed. Now you want to go back to the
Yes, would you please go back to the original?
Deputy Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Counselor Birmingham?
Yes.
Counselor D'Amato?
Yes.
Counselor Lockman?
Yes.
Counselor Toller?
Yes.
Counselor Williams absent. Mayor Baskerville?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. Counselor Birmingham, would you please do B?
This is ordinance O-25-26. Ordinance amending salary ordinance O-20-07 for the management non-union group for the year 2025. And I so move.
Second.
Oh, go ahead.
I
We
I
need
do
to
have
make
a
an amendment.
recommendation,
Yes.
Madam
Yep.
Mayor.
Well, were you finished?
I'm sorry.
No, what I was gonna say is, maybe you're going here. We are gonna need to amend this slightly.
Yes.
But do I need to move it before we amend it, correct?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay, so I move it.
Right.
Second.
Right.
Okay. Yep.
So it was brought to my attention that Section 5 of this draft ordinance, which states employees hired after October 1, 1993 will have terminal leave capped at $5,000, is inconsistent with with an ordinance that was approved a couple years ago, Ordinance O-23-36, which actually governs accumulated sick leave policy for civilian employees, which in that ordinance, O-23-36, the terminal leave or the sick leave allowance is capped at $15,000. So to be consistent with a previously approved ordinance, I would just recommend that Section 5 be amended to read $15,000 rather than $5,000.
Sorry, what was the ordinance number you said you were referring to?
It's ordinance O-23-36.
So there was an ordinance O-2506 and ordinance O-2007. from March 11th, 2025. And what year is this one you're referring to?
This is from 2023. This was introduced on October 10th, 2023. The public hearing was on October 24, 2023.
Okay, so you said you want to make a change to it?
I would recommend or request that the draft ordinance that is before you this evening is amended to comply with the previous ordinance, so they're not in conflict with each
Would
other.
it be the 2023 ordinance or the 2025 ordinance?
I am not familiar with the 2025
Yeah, it's
ordinance. This would be,
025, 06. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Counselor
I
Toller,
apologize.
if you have another amendment you'd like to offer
Well, no,
or
I'm
additional
trying to
information?
understand if he's making an amendment to the year 2023 or these two from 2025.
So far, the only
too.
thing that I've heard presented here from Mr. Marks was 2336 from the year 2023 and change the 5,000 to 15,000.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but
Okay.
there was another ordinance in 2025.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. If you
Yeah.
want to share that with us, then we can
Right, I am.
entertain
I
that.
also have another question too, so, but to answer your question, Mr. Marks, it's 02506 and then 02007, and that's from March 11th, around March 2025. But I don't see the environmental Office of Sustainability's position on here unless I'm missing it.
I don't believe that position I believe that position is a union-covered title. I don't believe it's a non-union position.
So it wouldn't be listed with these
These are
positions?
non-union
Non-union?
positions only.
So that person's in the union, okay.
That's my understanding.
All right, thank you.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Just to clarify, the proposed amendment is to Section 5.
Correct.
And that is because to change the 5,000 terminal leave cap to 15,000 because in an ordinance that you stated, 02336, which was the terminal leave section of the code, there was an amendment effected through that ordinance to increase the cap to 15,000.
Correct.
Right.
So it's just, right.
Yeah, and just what that ordinance also did in 2023 is, you may remember that as part of an ordinance, it was either you could take $5,000 in cash, or you could take a terminal vacation at full pay to include all of your sick days. So there were people who were going out on many long days, in the year before they were to retire. That's not really consistent with state law, which caps it at $15,000, which is why the $15,000 cap. So just so everyone's clear, there wasn't really an increase in 2023 from 5,000 to 15. I mean, it was, but it was designed to be more in accordance with state law.
So we don't want to look at the ones from 2025 to see what changed as a reference point?
Yes, so your hand.
What are those
What in 2025, what have we would have done it, what did we do? I have no memory. I know we've changed some salaries, but I don't have any memory of
Okay,
doing.
I guess we need to pull them and look at them.
Yeah,
Just
let's-
putting it out there that there were some other
Can you
ordinances.
give me the number? I'll look at it right now.
Sure, 025-06, 020-07. I don't know if we just need to look at them to see what changes have been made, if any. And
Mayor, I have one more question.
So 02007, just so we're, 020-07 was the salary ordinance that went up. It had like 2020, 2021, 2023, 2024, and this is updating that. So
Okay.
Counselor Toller, you're correct. This is updating that one.
Okay.
I will look up, I think 2025 one, it was a specific position, but I will confirm it.
just triple checking, no
Yep,
problem.
yep.
I
I'll
have
do
one
that.
more question,
Yes.
if I may. Thank you. So, Mr. Marks, can you please, just for the record, let us know if there are any other changes, like new positions or any other changes?
So generally, this updates the salary ordinance that was introduced and approved in 2020. That was a 4-year salary ordinance. It includes all of the positions that were in that 2020 ordinance. I would say, and it also codifies or consolidates a lot of other non-union seasonal or part-time employees. The one new position that's in here that never appeared previously, well, actually 3 new positions, I'm sorry. So the one full-time position that's in this ordinance that didn't appear in previous salary ordinance is the Complete Streets Director position. The Complete Streets Director position was created by ordinance of the mayor, this mayor and council about a month ago. But that ordinance creating the Complete Streets Director and the Complete Streets Oversight Board did not set a salary for that title. So we have to establish a salary for that title. The 2 other positions that I don't believe appeared anywhere previously were for Special Law Enforcement Officer 1, which is typically a position, it's a non-union position. It's a part-time or seasonal position for hourly police officer employees. The SLEO, Special Law Enforcement Officer 1, is typically deployed in like a downtown setting or around bars or restaurants or essential business district as needed. So the position is not a full-time position per se. It is a law enforcement officer who has graduated from an accredited police academy, actually carries a badge and a gun, but is not a full-time employee, reports and is deployed as needed by the police department. Still reports to the police chief, but is deployed as needed. A special law enforcement officer class 3 is specific to a school setting and is limited to recent retirees, recent police officers who have recently retired. I think you can only go to work as a special law enforcement officer class 3 within 1 year of your retirement. They are per diem police officers. They are retired police officers. They carry badges and guns. They, again, report to the chief of police. However, they work in a school setting. They work as needed. Typically, most SLEO Special Law Enforcement Officer Class 3s in New Jersey work, their time tenure is consistent with the school year. So they typically work 180 days per year. And so the salary ordinance established for the Class 2s and the Class 3s are between the going rate, the market rate, is between $35 per hour and $45 per hour. And it is a more cost-effective way of deploying police resources as needed.
Thank you, Counselor. And Counselor Toller.
Counselor Birmingham?
Thank you, Mayor. 025-06 was the ordinance to amend our manager's salary. So that was an update of that. Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Is someone going to move those amendments?
So I will move the amendment as proposed for Section 5.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Anderson? Yes. Counselor Birmingham?
Yes. Do you think there is any, let me just ask one question. Is there any benefit in this section to reference the ordinance O23-36 as per O-23-36?
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay, I just want to check. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Counselor D'Amato?
Yes.
Counselor Lockman?
Yes.
Counselor Toller?
Yes.
Counselor Williams absent. Mayor Baskerville?
Yes. Thank you. Counselor Lockman? Please, resolution.
Mayor, if I may just jump in,
Yes.
just one housekeeping item. In light of one of the matters discussed in executive session, I'm recommending that the council adopt a resolution authorizing the township to enter into a settlement agreement and refund property taxes pursuant to Section 309-38. This is the municipal code section that exempts veterans from property taxes. The recommendation would be that Mr. Brian P. Pugh, one such veteran in the town, be refunded his portion of the municipal taxes in the amount of $8,319.36.
Okay, that's a resolution, right?
Correct.
We're just getting started with them. Councilor Loughlin?
So we need to have a roll call on this salary ordinance. The amendment
sorry, I
just
thought you
passed.
I apologize.
But
I
if
thought
you would like to introduce this ordinance, then let me know.
Yes, please.
Deputy Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Counselor Birmingham?
Yes.
Counselor D'Amato?
Yes.
Counselor Lockman?
Yes.
Counselor Toller?
Yes.
Counselor Williams? Absent. Mayor Baskerville?
Yes. So I'm just trying to find out, when we get to do the resolutions, this is something that has to be done like right now before we do all the other resolutions, or could we do it when we get to it? We're just not there yet.
I
thought we were
apologize.
gonna do-
I jumped the gun. I apologize.
No
if that's the case,
worries.
so I apologize, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Lockman?
So I move Resolution R-25-183, which is a resolution authorizing the award of a fair and open professional services contract to Hendricks Appraisal Company, LLC, for appraisals and consulting agreements. And this one is specifically for Lackawanna Plaza.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes.
Councilor Toller?
Yes. I'm just wondering, when was this last appraised? If we can get that information, someone can email it to me. And I noticed that we're using the same firm that did 14 Miller Street, and for this appraisal, they're only asking for maybe $1,000 more, and it seems like a more complicated piece of real estate to appraise than 14 Miller Street at $4,500 and $5,500 for this. The other question I have, and I guess this would be for Ms. Talley, who's not here, but in part of the backup documentation that was submitted by the proposal for appraisal and consulting assignments on page 2, property to be appraised, I'm having some, trying to understand, it's saying, based on a review of the municipal tax lien, the portion of the subject property situated within block 3213 is currently a 2-unit condominium.
I'm sorry, Councilor Toller, please, what page is this?
There is no page number on this. I'm trying to,
Okay.
it's the second, if we're counting pages from the beginning, we're looking at page 4.
Thank you.
Sure. And I just don't know where there's a 2-unit condominium on this property, because Google Earth shows an empty lot. In addition, there is also a mother parcel for common elements. Regardless of the foregoing, all of the subject parcels have been viewed and valued as a single economic unit, which is correct, but I'm trying to understand, is this a typo for a 2-unit condominium at 1 Lackawanna and 227 Bloomfield Avenue? Because I don't know where there's a 2-unit condominium.
Looks like it's a typo.
It's got to be fixed. I don't understand. That's definitely an empty lot.
Can we correct that at this point in time, or?
I don't know.
Can we just eliminate the first paragraph after property to be appraised and just start with the address, 1 Lackawanna Plaza and 227 Bloomfield Avenue, with the lots and block numbers? That would seem to address your issue and your...
Attorney,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask your opinion on this, please.
Say if we include it in lieu of the actual lot and block numbers,
The lot and block
That's-
numbers are there.
I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood what
Yeah, yeah.
what the issue is. You say
No, I'm
it's
just-
an
I'm-
incorrect block and block number?
Yeah, if you go to the one, if you go to,
The information that is above it is not
Yeah, it's not correct. The second
And so
page.
I'm asking you, please,
Like the
attorney,
fourth
if
page.
you,
Right here, honey.
do you have something, Mr. Mayor?
Sure, Madam Mayor, I would just,
And your marks.
I would suggest or recommend that the resolution be amended to make sure that the appraisal is coterminous with the redevelopment plan. It essentially is necessary in relation to the pilot agreement, development of the pilot agreement for the redevelopment plan. So it's not anything outside of the redevelopment plan, so it should be the appraisal and the appraised land should be consistent with and coterminous with the redevelopment plan. So I think that would solve it pretty much.
Yeah, I think it does. I just think,
Counselor Lockman?
Counselor Toller.
I'm sorry, but,
Sorry.
so I asked the attorney a question. Were you finished? Because I don't know
Can we start with my
if
suggestion?
we can do,
Yeah, to the attorney.
can we start with your suggestion?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had suggested to the attorney that it would be page 2 of the actual proposal for appraisal and consulting assignments, where it says property to be appraised. Counselor Toller is correct that there seems to be a major typo there. In the first paragraph should be, in my view, you could just delete that first paragraph, and then the actual block and lot
I see what you're
numbers
saying.
are
Yes,
correct.
I agree, and that should not be a problem.
Right, that's what I was asking the attorney, because
But-
I heard you the first time, so I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
wondering
yeah, he did.
that. Manager Marks?
We cannot amend a proposal. We can amend the resolution.
Okay.
So
Oh,
I would
I see.
suggest,
Oh.
it's his proposal, so we can't
Okay.
necessarily amend it.
This is
Thank
the
you.
proposal the firm sit in, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
But the tax lots on our
Counselor
resolution-
Birmingham?
Thank you, Mayor, I apologize, are correct.
Yeah.
These here, right?
My direction to the appraiser was to come up with appraisal values of the Lackawanna terminal as contained in the redevelopment plan. So I didn't give him specific blocks and lots, but he does have access to the redevelopment plan. So my assumption was it would be consistent with the redevelopment plan.
All right, so are you going to reach out?
Thank you.
Mayor?
Counselor Toller?
Sorry, thank you. Will you be reaching out to him to submit a revised one?
I will, yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. You moved this?
I moved this,
She
and
seconded
you
it.
seconded it, so it's,
Madam Clerk, please.
Deputy Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Counselor Birmingham?
Yes.
Counselor D'Amato?
Yes.
Counselor Lockman?
yes.
Counselor Toller?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville?
Yes.
Me?
Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Resolution R 25-184, resolution authorizing the award of a fair and open professional services contract to Hendricks Appraisal Company LLC for appraisals and consulting assignments. I so move.
Second. Oh,
Discussion.
Yes.
Counselor Toller?
Thank you. I'm just, this firm that we're using, this is the price that they're always submitting, but it seems their work's a little shoddy when they're submitting their proposals. $4,500 is what we paid for Miller Street. This is an appraisal being done for a 3-unit house. Again, a much complicated appraisal, I would think, would require a little more money. So I'm just hoping we're getting the best bang for our buck with these type of appraisals, because they're charging $5,500 for Lackawanna, which is a very complex thing. So I just wanted to put that on the record, that I'm hoping we're getting adequate and good appraisals coming in, because if this is the type of shoddy work they're sending in their backup, I have some concerns about their type of appraisals that they're doing.
Anyone else?
Mayor,
Yes, Deputy Mayor?
I think this is for an appraisal of the police headquarters and the parking lot behind the police headquarters. Is that
Correct.
may I?
Counselor Lockman?
Do you want to?
So the township went through.
Manager Marks?
I'm sorry. The
No
township
worries.
went through a competitive RFP, request for proposal process. So that was done, I believe, at the end of 2024. I was not part of that process. This appraiser was selected through that competitive process. So that's why we are using them. I could tell you the appraiser is highly regarded by the tax assessor and other people I've spoken with.
Thank you. Counselor Lockman?
Oh,
No? Anyone else? Madam Clerk, please?
Oh, no. Can we
Yes,
just,
Counselor D'Amato?
we know for sure that this hasn't been done for the parking lot?
There was a single appraisal done for the entire property, but it It didn't create
Cut it out.
specific values for each individual lot. So this is doing additional research.
So we already paid somebody to do both the building and the lot.
That was done last year. It's also, it needs, so PSC&G has approached the town with interest in this property, so we want an updated valuation. So, yes, it was done last year, but it needs to be updated, needs to be corrected to to appraise each lot individually and not in total.
Yeah, just if I may, just to reiterate.
Counselor Lockman.
We did get an appraisal. We're aware of the appraisal. We got an appraisal for the police building, but this group, Hendricks, they appraised the whole site, and where we want to separate out the actual building from the parking lot, because we may do different things with both.
What's the appraisal? The appraisal that we'll get back is for the land or for the building?
There's
It's
three individual lots, and he will be establishing values for each lot individually.
Just the lot? Yeah.
Well, I mean, the lot,
But-
including
And the building,
Including
yeah,
the
the
building. Okay.
building's on a lot, yeah.
Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Counselor Birmingham,
Yes.
Counselor D'Amato.
Yes.
Counselor Lockman.
Yes.
Counselor Toller,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville.
Yes, thank you. Council Williams?
Resolution R-25-185, resolution appointing members to the planning board, sponsored by Councilor Lockman and Councilor D'Amato. So moved.
So should I say something or no?
I just have some concern because I personally have not had an opportunity to review all of these people that had put in their applications here, nor have I had an opportunity to speak with them. And I also serve on the planning board and have had previous experience on the planning board, so I feel as though I can be an asset here. And so, did everyone else you all had an opportunity to speak to the people and review them and whatever? Because I certainly haven't, and I know we've got a lot of people that we're supposed to be reviewing the volunteer interest forms for, and so I have not gotten to these yet. So I'm wondering, since there's no rush on this, is there, can we take this off until the next meeting and then maybe vote on all of them, have everybody vote on all of them? I just haven't had an opportunity. It's quite a few of them. Did everybody else review these?
I did.
Yeah, okay, I haven't gotten to that.
No, I didn't. I don't know what name we're using, but I
Huh?
guess, how many seats are there?
Well, there's only one seat. It's a second alternate.
Okay.
And there were 5 people who submitted their VIF forms.
Right.
I made a recommendation on 2 of them. I thought that we could.
Yeah, I see one of them that I
Yeah,
did
I thought
see,
that
yes.
tonight, we could, if we'd all have read the resumes and forms that they submitted, we could agree on people. If you want to talk to them, fine. I know when I was appointed to the planning board, no counselor spoke with me. I guess maybe they knew me, I don't know. I think some of these resumes, in my view, speak for themselves, and I don't need to talk to them.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and, again, it just seems when, first of all, there is no rush. We have wonderful complement of people that are serving now. I'm sure, it may be that I'm interested in the same person. I did not have an opportunity to review them. I would appreciate the same courtesy that I offered when there were some other people that, we're trying to get appointed, and you all had not had an opportunity to review them or even find out if there are other people that want to get on the planning board. So I'm going to ask, please, that we don't vote on this tonight until I have an opportunity as the other individual who is serving on the planning board. There's no rush on it. So can we do it on the 22nd in July?
Okay, so can we just vote then? How do we just move this along? I'm
Well, we
happy to
wait
wait. I'm
until-
happy to wait.
yeah.
So, but I don't know that we need to talk,
Well, I
or
mean,
maybe you do.
if somebody thinks there's a rush on it, I just don't get it. But yeah, we can do,
May I
yeah.
May I say why I think that
Yes.
we need to talk about
Yes.
this? Well, because there are three semi-judicial boards, the zoning board, the planning board, and the historic
Correct.
preservation.
We're aware of this.
The other boards, commissions, they're advisory. They're not as essential as the group that has to make decisions about land use in this town. We're going to come into soon, we're going to get major applications like Lackawanna Plaza. And I believe that we should have a full complement of people on the planning board to be informed from the get-go about what's the plan for, the site plan for that site. It's an important site. People should not be coming in and trying to catch up. So if it were my decision, I would want to have a full complement from the day one when we start talking about Lackawanna and other things, like one of the things we're going to be talking about is redoing the master plan. So I think that can we wait a month? Of course. But we've been waiting, and I don't, frankly, I look at these 5 applications and, 2 people stand out above all others, and I don't know why we cannot agree on one name and nominate that person and
Yeah,
move
I'm
on
not
from
saying that we
this.
can't. I'm just asking, since I did not have an opportunity to review this, if I could be given the same courtesy that we did when other people have not had an opportunity to review. And I've heard you, before talk about, the difference between committees and commissions. I respect all of the volunteers that go out of their way to fill these forms out and express an interest. And I would like to try to work expeditiously to get all of the positions filled. I'm just saying, we already have the agenda for next month. I don't think it's going to make a difference. I would like to reach out to them, and I've explained before, not just in front of this body, but to other people, that I usually always try to reach out to the people and have a conversation with them and, make a decision. And I'm not questioning your judgment. I'm just saying I have not had an opportunity to review them.
Mayor?
Yes. Councilor Tola?
Yep, I'm sorry. So there's no name here. Is this, you wanted us to just discuss each person, if you will, or should we have a name on here? And if we agree via that, and then, I'm just asking, maybe the clerk or the attorney, should it be a name on here? Or should this be a discussion and a name can be added as we're discussing it?
That's my
Because
understanding, that you were going to
We're going to discuss it and
add
put the name in.
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
but it
So
doesn't
you
have
want
to
to
have
go
a
through
name.
each individual tonight?
I thought people would have read the 5 resumes and be prepared to give their one and 2 or 3.
No, but if you want to go through each one tonight and discuss each
I
individual...
don't want to discuss each one.
Okay, so, I thought that that's what Counselor was saying.
No, I thought that I assumed everybody would have read the 5 resumes, would have judged them and come up with their choice of the person that they'd like to appoint to the second alternate role. And then we could vote on it.
Mayor?
Yes, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I did have a chance to review these, and I think there are a couple that stood out for me. And I understand that alternate is needed. The individual, should I just say who
No,
I...
an alternate is not needed at this moment. I mean, if it's not going to make a difference in the world if we do this tonight or if we do it in July. We already have the agenda for the July meeting, so if we voted on this in July and gave me a chance to do that, it's not going to make a difference, is all I'm saying.
I will say that we have, at other people's requests, we have deferred voting. I do not think a second alternate, and there's nothing that says that these people who are interested can't come to the planning board and be listening to the, so can we just, how do we just decide or vote to defer this to July 22nd versus vote on it now? If anyone, can we just?
We have to make a motion to table it. Is that
Okay.
correct?
Then I will make a motion to table.
I'll second it.
Can I add one more comment? Yeah.
Councilor Lockman?
We got, I don't know how many recommendations for the other boards and commissions that we did the same thing. We said, oh, we're not going to vote on this tonight, we're pulling it. And it's, 8 weeks since we did
Girl,
that?
tell me about it. The
And it
volunteer
hasn't
committees
happened.
ain't
So
been
I
filled
am
yet either,
trying,
so let's come
I
on
am
now.
trying to make something, move this along, because
No, I
we
get
don't
it.
seem to be able to move these appointments along.
Well, why don't we've already made a motion in second. We can do it on the 22nd, and we can also bring up the volunteer
And that-
advisory committees and just appoint everybody with fresh new year.
Okay, yeah,
That's
I
fair.
I agree.
Well, I'm saying fresh new fiscal year.
But, and I agree with what you just said too, Counselor Lockman, but after the group said that they wanted to have an opportunity to review and come back with others, I've been waiting for 8 weeks now. So I agree with you to get some names. Nobody has put anything forth. I put twice on the agenda, the ones that I thought, and then after it was clear to me other people wanted to bring other names forth and move, then I didn't do it for a third time because it was told to me that other people wanted to get more applicants and other things. So I was trying hard to move it. At this point in time, I really would like for us to make some decisions at the July 22nd meeting and vote on all of them at that time.
We have a motion and a second. for a
Okay,
vote.
Madam Clerk?
Thank you.
We're
This
voting
is a
on
motion to
July
table
tabling
this
them and voting
resolution
them
to
on at
July
the
22.
22nd.
Abstain.
Counselor Birmingham?
Yes.
Counselor D'Amato?
Abstain.
Counselor Lockman?
No.
Counselor Toller?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Counselor Williams, please. Oh, I'm so sorry. Counselor Toller.
Sure. Resolution R 25-186, Township of Montclair. Resolution authorizing the adoption of the Happy to Chat Bench initiative in the Township of Montclair. I so move, and my understanding this is a total of 4 benches at the moment.
Second. Discussion. Counselor Birmingham?
I think this seems like a lovely initiative. Do we need, where we have here, the mayor and township council are authorized to take the necessary steps to implement this initiative, including community outreach, partnerships, and ongoing oversight. I think my only question is, they're not going to place these benches
No, they can't.
without.
So it would have to comply with all local ordinances that are in effect. So this just authorizes the relevant member of the council to take steps to further the initiative.
Okay, and they would need to confer with Parks
Yeah,
Department or
per the
Department
ordinance,
of. Okay.
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
So, sorry.
Deputy Mayor?
So just to be clear, because that was one of my concerns. I just wanted to, some of the questions that I wrote down is who's going to be responsible for approving the locations? How are they going to be approved? So my understanding is that, before a bench can be placed, there would have to be like a resolution presented. Is that what the intent is for this?
So-
What that's meant by the 4th paragraph?
When I initially thought that it would be best to do it in ordinance form because we already had an ordinance for benches and then just amend it to put it in there, it discussed the process, which would begin with the request that would go to the manager, and then the manager would discuss that with whoever, but ultimately the mayor and the council would agree or not agree in terms of the placement. Since this is, at that meeting, I received that more people here would be interested, perhaps if it was in a resolution. And so if there are things here that we'd like to, amend or to delete, I'm open to that. I just really think that it's a great opportunity. And I know our students are excited. And so if there are things in here that people would like to amend or change the wording, I'm wide open.
So again, just for clarification, this is just a resolution. The
Right.
ordinance that I had drafted was pulled for the reasons stated by the mayor.
Yeah.
So again, it would have to comply with all the local ordinances in effect that include bench location and things of that nature. So all this does is essentially give authority for the appropriate party to explore and initiate that process.
Right.
Just one question?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Yes.
She's next.
Should I go?
Councilor Lockman.
Yeah. Just a question. So when this was first proposed to us in the form of an ordinance, I think?
Yes.
It had attachments that described what exactly was going on with this bench?
Yes.
Does it make any sense to attach those to this resolution? I don't know. Just throwing that out there so that people have a complete picture of what we're talking about.
For me? I don't think it's necessary for purposes of the ordinance, given the fact that it's on the table right now. What you can do, I think, is perhaps work with the, however we disseminate information within the township to provide the packet and flesh out more so what exactly the initiative is and things like that. Again, all this does is just authorize the relevant party member to move forward, start collecting information, and work with the relevant community groups, whoever it may be, interested parties that we heard from in the audience. So I leave it obviously to the governing body's decision-making, but I don't think it's necessary because I think it can be handled as the process continues and as there's due diligence performed.
So, Councilor Lockman, I have ordinance 02525. And in here, that was the ordinance about the bench. No, that wasn't the number. I have the ordinance somewhere here about that, if you would like for us to attach that to it?
Well,
Okay.
I trust what the attorney is advising us.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Before we
Madam
vote,
Clerk?
I
Oh,
just-
I'm sorry, Councilor Toller?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, because I know Ms. Alma Schneider was here, and I just wanted to make sure we put it on record that we can't put these on school properties. They would have to go to the Board of Ed and commission them for happy to chat benches if that's something schools would like to see placed. I just wanted to put that out there because I know she mentioned it, and we can't do that, but of course we can put them in our parks and some other places. But again, for anybody listening at home involved in the happy to chat bench, they would have to definitely commission the Board of Ed for placement. Just wanted to put
Thank you
out
for that reminder, Councilor Toller. And just following along that same line of discussion, Nishawane School has already requested them. In fact, 175 of our second graders wrote beautiful letters to the council pleading with us to pass this and speaking about how nice it would be and how they could make new friends. And if you're sad and you sit on one of the benches and someone sat next to you, maybe you wouldn't be sad anymore. And a lot of compelling things. So I'd like to applaud them. And I will definitely make sure that they understand that there's a different process, because I call them our second grade activists. So I'll make sure that the activists understand that there's a different process in order to have permission to put them on the school property. Thank you, Councilor Toller. Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Counselor Birmingham,
Yes.
Counselor D'Amato,
Yes.
Counselor Lockman.
Yes.
Counselor Toller.
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville.
Yes. Thank you. Next, please. Councilor, D'Amato.
Resolution R25-187, resolution to appoint a professional services contract with RSC Architects not to exceed $90,000 for design and construction, administration, inspection, and monitoring service for Clary Anderson Arena repair project. And I so move. Should say, I'm sorry, it should say non-fair and open in the title.
I just have a question.
Mine says non-fair and open?
Yeah, non-fair and open.
Yeah. Discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor.
Sure.
Doesn't say
Councilor D'Amato or maybe Mr. Marks, I know Resolution R25-117, we approved it in April, 422. The 34K was to assess the physical conditions, right? So this is a whole new kit and caboodle, if you will, right?
Correct.
Just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
So
I-
go ahead.
Councilor Birmingham and then Councilor D'Amato.
Can we just clarify, because there were some questions around $90,000, and I'm looking at this, like, there's 5 phases of project, and it looks like it's the work that was said to need to be done, at least in this initial phase, is $842,000. So can you just describe the phases and how it gets to 90,000?
Well, in the first phase, or the first contract that was led a couple of months ago, the architects did an assessment of the arena and basically opined that there was approximately $5.7 million worth of repairs and improvements that were necessary in order to bring the arena up to tip-top condition. We had the Planning and Infrastructure, Facilities and Infrastructure Committee had a meeting with the architects, and we went over, actually the last page of the proposal outlines the items that we went over. So the question that we posed to the architects was, what are the absolute most important critical things that need to be repaired in order to eliminate all the code violations and life, health, safety hazards? So the architects came up with a plan with the approximate value of those repairs is $842,000. So if approved this evening, the architects will put together bid specifications to address the items that are listed on the last page that come up to $842,000 price tag. Their proposal includes the design specifications as well as construction administration, inspection, and monitoring services to make sure, notwithstanding what one of the members of the general public said before, in my experience and what's generally accepted industry standards, in the architecture and engineering world, typically design in terms of coming up with bid specifications and a design package is typically 8 to 10% of a project cost, and construction administration services is anywhere from 12 to 15% of design costs. Those are standards that are commonly used by New Jersey Department of Transportation as well as the New Jersey Environmental Infrastructure Trust Fund. So this is within, it's actually below what an engineer would typically charge. This includes both the design and the construction phasing. The architects told me verbally that they anticipate once going out to bid takes 15 days, right? Once you have a set of bid specifications. So if approved this evening, first thing tomorrow, I will give the architects a notice to proceed to package together all the specifications for all the items listed on the last page of the proposal. I'm not quite sure how long that will take, but we have to go out to bid for at least 15 days. They understand that the next council meeting is July 22nd. It was my charge or my desired intent expressed to them that we would have the bids due back and a recommendation from them, the professional architects, to the town to award a contract on or before July 22nd. So time is of the essence in order to get these repairs and improvements done. Once approved by once the bid specifications or the bid is approved, their estimate, again, verbally, that we went through on the Facilities and Infrastructure Committee, they anticipated the work would take between 6 to 8 weeks, which puts us in line. If all the stars align, that's not a promise. If all the stars align, we should have the repairs made by the start of the hockey season. There's probably a dozen ways this could go sideways between now and the beginning but we're making a good faith effort to make all the necessary repairs.
Mayor?
Yes, Councilor D'Amato.
So, Mr. Manager, just for the benefit of us who are, not in the biz, and the people at home, construction management in this context, because there is no general contractor per se, their fee is essentially comparable to the overhead of a general contractor in some regards. In other words, we're not paying an extra group of people to manage something because we won't have a general contractor for all of the work.
I mean, if there's one set of bid specifications to hire one contractor, they will be overseeing. I don't know. I don't know if they've envisioned hiring a separate electrical subcontractor from a roofer, from a plumbing subcontractor or a mechanical electrical plumbing subcontractor. So, to be honest, I don't know if it's one GC who will be running the project, but we need somebody who will be putting together the bid specifications and actually managing the contractor, whether it's one contractor or several contractors running the job, actually making inspections, making sure the quantities and materials are true and correct, that the not the bid specifications, but the pay applications and the payrolls are true and correct. So, we have these are prevailing wage jobs, and we actually have to make sure that the contractors themselves are submitting pay applications and complying with prevailing wage law.
Okay, so we need these soft costs to do the job right.
We have nobody in place, nobody internally who would do this work.
But people should know at home that this is the hard reality of being a government, is that the soft costs are hard. And now we're looking at 125, give or take, in soft costs already on this project.
Correct.
That we are spending. But we have to. We can't really manage this project, certainly in this timeline, without having professionals who can do this and monitor it. Correct, right?
So counties, municipalities, school boards are governed by what's called the New Jersey Local Public Contracts Law. We are not, we're not a mom and pop shop. This isn't our home where we could just hire a contractor to fix our kitchen or bathroom. We have to comply with New Jersey Local Public Contracts Law, and you have to have somebody in place. You have to have a set of prescribed bid specifications, actually go out to public bid. Anything over $44,000 has to be publicly bid. This isn't something that we could do just by getting quotes from contractors.
Councillor Lockman?
Okay, I just wanted to add one more thing. We see here that the estimated costs provided by RSC to get this thing up and running by, ice time is $842,000. But being the fiscal hawk here, I wanted to make sure that people recognize that that's not the only cost that will be incurred to get Clary Anderson up and running. Yeah. The current manager of the arena had put in his own money to put in parts, various parts, and those we will need to buy those parts from him, and that there's a cost attached to that, and I guess we'll be working with that current manager to determine what that is. So get out of your head that this is going to cost $850,000. It's going to cost more. So I will say again, those people that came to the mic here and said that they're willing to raise money to fund this so it's not a taxpayer burden, in my view, they need to, and I am very happy to meet with you and talk about this, and you tell me what you need to do to get donations from all the people that came to the mic and said they were willing to donate.
You need to have an agreement in place with the town to actually.
Well, we need to understand what exactly is needed and then get going on raising that money. That's okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lockman. Councillor Birmingham.
I just have one quick question. I see that there's replace roofs, D&E, et cetera. Has there been an overall discussion around as roofs get replaced about potentially putting solar panels, or how, can you just talk a little bit about that, where that stands? Well, but we're replacing the roofs, that's my question. Is this something that is at least
We
thought
talked
about?
about it with them and with others. We have to do an assessment on how we would approach the repair and replacement of the roof. So the roof is heavily degraded, standing seam roof, and there are different ways to deal with it. There's a very expensive way, which is basically you would remove all of the metal on top of the roof down to the structural steel. You can also put another roof on top of it. And I do believe that we are still needing to get an assessment on what those structural members can carry. I don't think that has been answered yet, but I do believe that in our conversations, solar was considered a given, even given the orientation of the roof, which is not optimal. Yes.
Okay, so it's on track to have solar panels.
It's not costed out, but I would assume that it's a net neutral and there'll be.
Yeah, just because hockey rinks are huge
Yep.
electricity hogs, so, yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Just so you guys are aware, when we were talking with our group and stuff like that, we were talking about possibly geothermal for the heating, cooling, and solar and other things to keep the operating costs down. So that's something, it's not this first phase, we're in the repair phase here, but the money that we raise can be used for all that kind of stuff. We've been keeping that right at the top of our list.
Thanks, Mr. Gibbon. But we legally can't have a back and forth.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Thank you, though.
Anyone else?
I just appreciate all the work that we put into this, the excitement, the energy, everything. And I'm looking forward to that type of energy and excitement put into a few other topics we need to handle. Not tonight, but going forward.
Well said. Anyone else? Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Counselor Birmingham,
Yes.
Counselor D'Amato,
Yes?
Counselor Lockman,
Yes.
Counselor Toller,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville.
Yes. Okay, Councilor Birmingham.
Okay, we are now at.
Excuse me.
Yes,
Mayor, this is the one that we need to add, because we're going to the bill list now, is that correct or no?
no, we're on resolution, we're at number 6. Resolution.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes.
This is a resolution establishing a user and ice allocation policy for the Clary Anderson Arena. And I so move.
Second. Discussion. Madam Clerk?
I don't
Oh.
have a resolution document.
There's,
This doesn't look like a.
No.
If I may,
Yes.
the matter that Counselor D'Amato had struck from the ordinance establishing the fees should be the preamble to this, this policy document. This is a draft policy, but it's missing the actual resolution language, so I was, or it could be I mean, this is, it's, as a resolution, it could be it could be,
Of course you can.
it could be tabled until, I think that's okay to table it until July 22nd. The most
Okay.
important thing tonight in terms of like establishing the Clary Anderson Arena utility was establishing the user fees, updating the user fees.
Okay.
I think this is fine for yeah, to clean it up for July 22nd.
So there was a motion and a second, and now you're withdrawing?
Table?
Table.
Welcome to the council.
Yes.
I'll table it.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Okay, this is a motion to table this item to July 22nd. Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Counselor Birmingham,
yes.
Counselor D'Amato.
Yes.
Counselor Lockman.
Yes.
Counselor Toller. Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville.
Yes. Resolution number 7. Counselor Lockman? You got to do this before.
Yeah, so I move Resolution R-25-188, which is, whereas invoices against the Township of Montclair in favor of the following persons for the amounts set opposite their respective names have been received, duly audited, and found correct. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Township of Montclair in the County of Essex that said invoices be and they are hereby ordered paid, and that checks be drawn by the Finance Department to the order of such persons for the amounts respectively and hereinafter stated on the schedule attached hereto and made a part thereof. The total amount is $12,281,721.39. So moved.
Second. Discussion? Counselor Toller?
Should I get up and take a bow? I just have a question on vendor number 1905, Easy Pass. I'm just wondering who uses the Easy Pass here within our township.
I could look into that and report back to you. I'm not familiar with,
Okay. Public Works? Okay, thank you. And Police.
Police and Public Works.
So they take the cars out of Montclair. I'm just asking, do they have to get on the parkway to use the Easy Pass? We don't quite have a parkway.
Well, we
in
know
town.
the police go between here and
Yeah.
Essex County, so
That's
that's,
true,
yeah.
that's true.
So
They may
that
have
at
to
a
be going to
minimum,
county.
yeah.
Okay. And I'm just wondering, and maybe this isn't a discussion for the public, but I'm looking at workman's comp payments, and I'm just wondering, and maybe this is a discussion for Mr. Marks a little later, that we're paying a lot of money. Do we have that many cases out on workman's comp? It says deductible insurance. It's on page 3. And,
Our comptroller is here, perhaps?
okay.
So good evening. In looking, it's about $500,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. 4 invoices that were attached, and they were for deductible payments to the tune of about $210,000, and then various self-insurance retention claims for auto, personal liability, workers' compensation, and employment liability.
Okay, so these aren't actual people out. This is the insurance portion okay.
And it is the insurance portion for the township's share of all of insurances.
Okay. One more, and then that's it. And, so it's page 5, and the vendor number is 101022. It says Sunny Electric, at various locations. I'm just wondering, and perhaps, the department head can let us know what locations electrical work was done at for about almost $14,000. I mean, I know it's the system and the way that you run the reports, but I would just like a little more detail on some of this stuff, because it just says various work locations. What was done, where was it done?
We can look at the purchase orders.
Okay.
So I'm going to say to you, that's actually more than one purchase order. So if
it's
a
a
vendor has
blanket-
multiple purchases.
Yeah.
And they all happen to fall on the same bill list, depending on how the vendor requests it, they will get a single check. So
No,
it's
no,
not-
I understand.
So
So-
we will look up the purchase orders and get back to you on Sunny Electric.
Because usually when it's a blanket PO, it'll say it on here, so I don't know if that's the case here, but,
So the vendor is Sunny Electric, and the total cost is?
$13,832.42.
We will look that up and report back to you.
Counselor Birmingham?
Yes, thank you. Can I just ask you back to the GIF, the Garden State Municipal GIF? So there's one payment of $460,000, ASMT 2 of 3 installments, 25%? Just
So that is, we have an annual assessment,
Mhm.
which is due in 3 installments, 25, 25, and a 50% payment, which is coming up due shortly. And then in addition, there is the township's portion of the various claim and the various policies.
Okay, so then the next line item of excess workers' comp hyphen deductible / co-insurance of $550,000, as you said, is this, just so I'm fully understanding, is this, you're saying this is our share of claims, or is this an excess assessment that because we have had a lot of workers' comps claims?
So based on what I saw of the invoices, deductibles, and our policies, from what I understand, and I apologize, I don't have the policies, our deductibles are high based on the renewal, but the policy is also coming up for renewal again. So it is definitely something to look at. That conversation has already been started.
Okay.
And it covers all of the auto liability, employment practices, all of those various claims, and workers' comps, which can go on for years.
Okay.
There's no limit on workers' comp.
Okay, so maybe we can discuss this further, just all of the insurance. Yeah, we'll get to it.
Can I make a
Counselor Lockman?
Yeah, I would love to see a description of our insurance plan, which I have never seen. What our deductibles are, what our self-insured
Yeah.
retentions are, what portion is paid by the insurance carrier. I understand it's a retrospectively rated program, what premiums would be due for previous years, what our experience is, what our, workers' comp rate, what is it called?
Excuse me.
Our
rate
premiums?
is. No, that tells, oh my God, experience rating, what our experience modifier is, all that information, because this is a huge expense for the town, and yet I feel like this council really doesn't know anything about it.
So the renewal period is typically starts in July, so I would be more than happy to share all that information with you.
Thank
Excuse
you.
me, and Counselor Loffman. I think-
Counselor Tola?
Sure, thank you, Madam Mayor. IMAC, we consult or pay them, they can run that report. They should be able to run the report that you're looking for, or get that information.
And, yeah, I'm sure they can.
IMAC.
Yeah. Mhm.
Hey. Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Counselor Birmingham,
Yes.
Counselor D'Amato,
Yes.
Counselor Lockman.
Yes.
Counselor Toller,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville.
Yes. Attorney Tunteski, please.
Thank you, Mayor. As previously indicated, I would recommend that the council adopt a resolution authorizing the township to enter into a settlement agreement and refund property taxes pursuant to Section 309-38, this section of the municipal code that addresses veterans and property taxes, them being exempt from it. One such person being Brian P. Pugh, a resident of Montclair. The recommendation of the tax collector's office was that he be reissued or issued a refund in the amount of $8,319.36.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
May I just say there's a typo? In the first, be it further resolved, that amount is wrong. There's an extra 8 there. So it's reading 831.
I have it noted already here,
Okay.
Counselor. and
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Do you have it?
Okay, yeah, that's all.
Do you have it?
Yeah, it was given to us here. I was just making sure that this amount gets changed.
What number do you have on the top of
We
your page?
don't have it. It says R-25XXX. This is,
It's
don't-
attached to your executive session resolution.
Okay, thank you.
And the settlement, you can look
Yep.
at those documents.
sure, and I just want to take the time and first thank Councilor Birmingham and the mayor for kind of, if you will, co-signing this refund to our veterans, and for our attorney for working so diligently and hard on making sure this was the right thing to do. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Okay, at this point in time, from what I understand upstairs, we need to have further discussion.
Are we going to vote on this? I'm sorry, are you
Thank
going to
you.
vote on that?
Thank you,
We need
thank
to
you.
vote.
Yes.
on
Okay.
this.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Counselor Birmingham,
Yes.
Counselor D'Amato,
Yes.
Counselor Lockman,
Yes.
Counselor Toller,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville.
Yes, thank you. So then there are two things that we need to do. I'd like to make a motion to appoint our manager, Stephen D. Marks, as the temporary chief finance officer.
I'll second.
Second.
Any discussion? Manager?
The term would be beginning July 1st, 2025, through at least the next council meeting, July 22nd, 2025.
That's the expected end date. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Counselor Birmingham?
Yes.
Counselor D'Amato?
Yes.
Counselor Lockman?
No.
Counselor Toller?
No.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville?
Yes. Now, did you want to lead the discussion? We were going to discuss upstairs, and then I said we couldn't discuss that because it wasn't specific about any individual at the end of the meeting. You don't remember either? No? Remember when we were upstairs at the executive session? And
Just,
No, we don't need to be in executive session for whatever that extra member is happening. Do you, does anybody remember what I'm asking?
Well, I had,
Okay.
was it township attorney that we wanted to talk about?
No,
Or setting the agenda protocol?
No.
Those are two things,
it
no?
wasn't that. It was about hiring someone, but it was not a specific person. All right, well, it'll come to us.
But
Yes.
Mayor, do you want to, can we just give like a minute to the public around this, what we just did with appointing Mr. Marks as the interim pending Ms. Rao's departure? Just
Yes, go ahead.
Just a
You're
very
on.
brief that there's an active search ongoing, and we very much hope that by the next meeting we'll be able to make an appointment, but just in this short interim, in the state of New Jersey, you cannot appoint somebody who is a licensed CMFO to the interim position, so we are grateful that Mr. Marks will take on this position for the next few weeks. As, again, per New Jersey law, because he doesn't have a license, he is eligible for this position as an interim right now.
Yep. And I'd just like to add to that, I think the majority of us are very excited about the possibility of a certain candidate. We only had a few candidates. The chief financial officer position is just an amazing position. Not everyone has it. And we were very excited about one of the candidates. Because of a shortage of time tonight, we just did not have enough time to fully vet the appointment there. And so I do expect Manager Marks that by the next meeting, we should be able to remove you from that title and appoint someone else, the chief financial officer. Deputy? No? Okay.
It's a different topic. I just wanted to raise it.
Well, yes, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Hold on.
What? What about what?
What about number 8?
What about number 8?
I'm sorry, we pulled that. All right. And then what about, are we going to talk about the process for the township attorney or the setting the agenda protocol?
That's what it was when I said, what were we going to talk about? And no one said anything. So upstairs at the end of the meeting, that's why I said I thought it was you that mentioned that. So, yeah, you want to bring it out now?
Bring up the township attorney search, because that seems to be, a township attorney will be needed quite soon. I know that I gave my 5 people I would like to interview. I heard Ms.
did too.
Counselor Toller
Yep.
gave some people
Yes.
she would like to talk to, and if the rest of us give the names of the people we'd like to speak with, maybe there'd be overlap, and so we'd be able to come to maybe 3, 4 people that we all agree are candidates for considering. So, and I think, Mayor, you're collecting that information?
Well, no, at this point in time, first of all, I'd like to thank Deputy Mayor Susan Shin Anderson for her tireless work here. And just today, she gave to us for maybe the second or third time the listing so that we can rank the candidates. And at the last meeting, you'll remember that Manager Marks was kind enough to give each one of us a stack of papers with all the candidates to be considered on there. And so from what I understand, we're going to do that, itemize them, and then I believe that you we're going to do something with them, because you sent us another email today.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I just wanted to.
No, don't be sorry. I appreciate your help with this.
So my ask of the council members who haven't yet done so is to review the packet of resumes that we received from, the past 2 listings, as well as we received a number of firm submissions. And what I had resent today, as the mayor pointed out, is a score sheet, which I'm hoping would be helpful to some of you in helping you, rank perhaps the top 4 or 5 people that you would like to bring in for an initial interview, and get those names to us by the end of this week, if that's all possible, because knowing that it's summer and it will be a little bit more challenging to schedule, it would be good for us to at least start the interviewing process. And another request was to submit some questions that that we as a council can ask of all of the candidates when we interview them, and then I will prepare a second score sheet based on that. So. Mr. Chudowski, I think we're all very thankful that Mr. Chudowski agreed to serve, but his appointment is expiring, I think.
On the 30th of August?
Yep.
Yes, so, yes, the sooner that we can get this interview process, the better.
Can I?
Thank you. Yes, Councilor Lockman.
I know that Mr. Marks gave us some attorney information at the last council, but it wasn't complete. There were earlier resumes that were submitted, and one of my top candidates was on the earlier list. So that's why I sent you all an email with my 5 candidates that I liked, and I sent you all their resumes.
Sure.
Because one in
Caramels.
particular was not on there, and he's my top candidate.
Right.
And it's been so long that we started this that perhaps people have already dropped out. I don't know.
Yeah, I did some.
Councilor Tola?
Sure, thank you. I saw Councilor Deputy Mayor Anderson's scoring sheets. I did an edit. I sent it back to you in hopes that can be included for us to use going forward, because I think we needed to add 1 or 2 more things on there to score. I did send it back highlighted yellow, but I've also gone through the resumes, and like Councilor Loffman, I've found 4 names that I would like to see have come in, so.
Did you share the names of the people with us? Because I did get some information from you. Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, if,
Councilor.
on a happier personnel matter, as people will know, we passed an ordinance some months ago, a new complete streets ordinance,
Yay.
which makes, I think, what hopefully will be a quantum leap in street safety and design and making the town live up to that ordinance. And part of that was hiring a director of complete streets. And we are, I think, happy to know that this new director will be the chair of our Vision Zero Task Force and very long time professional and advocate in the field. Laura Torchio has agreed to take the job. It took some work, and we're very, very excited, I think all of us, about this. She will be the first point of contact for people who are looking for answers or a channel in for all the things that have to do with the public right away, and the loosey-goosey approach that we've had, I think will start to change. So thank you, Mr. Manager, for overseeing that, and everybody, and Mayor for spending many years working with her.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor wants to very, very, very briefly just share about her amazing experience. She represented the Township of Montclair in Graz, one of our sister cities, and she'd like to share a little bit with us. Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you. So just very quickly,
Last week, I had the opportunity to, while I was on vacation, to visit our oldest sister city, Graz, Austria, to celebrate the 75th anniversary of our relationship with that city. I was very happy to, share remarks, and also, it was under difficult circumstances because the city had experienced a mass shooting at their high school, at one of their high schools. So, and that just happened a few days before we were supposed to leave. So they were very, very gracious to receive myself and representatives from Montclair State University, with whom they've had a student exchange program for many, many years. They are really hoping that we will be able to continue and grow our relationship. I wanted to just share this book that they gave, that they presented, and I'm hoping that we're going to keep it at the upstairs for everybody to enjoy. So thank you to Mayor Elka Carr and all the staff who welcomed us.
Thank you. So I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And before we go, I'd just like to also congratulate the class of 2025. Graduation is Thursday. I know Councilor D'Amato has a grad. Anybody else up here have somebody graduating? No, you do. This year, from nice?
Not from the high school.
But from somewhere?
Yeah, from
Okay.
elementary school and middle school.
So GQ has somebody graduating too. All right, well, congratulations all. Please pick up your caps and gowns for the rest of the council if you haven't there at the office in the high school.
Sorry, I won't make the graduation, but go Mounties. Congratulations.